Welcome back to another episode of Inside Multifamily Access Control. Very excited today to have Colin join me again. Colin, how you doing?
Doing well. A little short on sleep with a newborn at the house, but overall, all things are good here. So
Yeah, definitely kick it off with the congratulations, the things that are important. So congratulations to you and your family. It's
thank you.
it's an
Appreciate it.
awesome, meaningful thing. So thanks for making the time to do this in between changing diapers.
Yeah, happy to.
Happy
Happy to.
to. Absolutely. So, all right. Well, you and I had plans of what to talk about, but then about 6 a.m. this morning, got a Wall Street Journal alert that Latch utilized a SPAC to go public. So sort of a reverse IPO in by definition, I guess. I don't know if it's by definition, but in essence, they did it with Tishman Spire, which is interesting too. So Tishman, the developer owner, created one of these SPACs backed by people like BlackRock and Social Capital. Like, there's a whole bunch of real money behind that thing. And in essence, the Luke and the team over there go public. That from that, I think it was like 400 million in capital raised for them to put to use in the really in the release. It was more about the operating system than it was about access control, even though the Wall Street Journal article, a little bit confusing because they call them a lock maker. Those of us in the industry know they're not a lock maker. They make the software that sits on locks, and they drive it, but there's some of that that OEMs that for them. But if anything, and I know you have some comments, I mean, it's about the platform and the operating system. So love to get your first impressions. I'll give mine after, but when you saw that, after the wow, like what did you think?
It definitely started with a wow. I would say maybe not as big of a wow for me as maybe others in the industry. Not that I'm a all-knowing kind of futurist person, but I think it gives credence to a lot of what we've been talking about of the platform and where the platform is going within the access control world and within the multifamily world, right? So I would say the dollar value is certainly the wow piece of it, but not necessarily the fact that Latch garnered that kind of attention. First and foremost, I'd say congratulations to that team. That's awesome. I know there's been a ton of work put in to do that. But it's the culmination of a lot of things that have been coming. COVID certainly ramped it up, but they didn't cause this kind of transition to an ecosystem of platforms that are going to deliver smart buildings, smart access, whatever you want to call it in today's world. The platform and the operating systems behind those are a driving force. That doesn't mean that the locking solution that Latch puts out and the locking systems similar to what Salto provides aren't a part of that ecosystem. You're just seeing some of the realization that the platform is a driving force there, and it'll be very interesting to see where Latch goes with this investment, because there's also a lot of pressure on them now, right, to deliver on that. So because it's not a known entity, I would say, necessarily. Not that Latch isn't a known entity, but just the idea of the platform and the ecosystem, and it's not mainstream yet. So but the price tag was a mainstream price tag, I guess. So
the valuation too. I mean, there's a difference between the valuation of it now, and basically they've raised the capital to go have the opportunity to realize the vision that they've set out there, which was beyond the locking and access control side and more the operating system. And I mean, the market conditions as they are helped, right? That SPACs have existed for a long time. There's people in our industry that have done them in other areas, like Mark Ein at Castle and that. I mean, he's done them in the past. So it's not like SPACs are new. It's just all of a sudden they're hot, and you've got a marketplace that's looking to place money into something. And you look at the real estate industry and everything that's happened with COVID, and there's a belief that things are going to change. And, Luke and the team clearly put together a great presentation. They've shown traction in the marketplace. meaningful. I mean, not,
Yeah.
there's other people that have done more so far, if you would, in the overall revenue, but this isn't about the revenue that they currently have now. And if anything, in my opinion on it too, is that, outside of the, is it real or not? It's real, whether people want to believe it or not, it's real. Because if you look also like you look at iLobby raising 100 million from Insight, which is from the visitor management standpoint, but that hits us here. You look at Butterfly MX raising, I think it was like 45 million, from an intercom system. You see all of these companies raising raising money at a certain amount and a rate, right? Like that, it tells you there's hype, yeah, but there's some real to this. And I think, if anything, what I think it needs to do is, you're going to see a couple crossroads of people, right? Oh, by the way, let's not mention the Google and ADT side of things too, right? Like, these
Right.
are some smart people. Like, this is not like a little thing. This is real. But it's a combination of market going more mainstream, bigger, larger opportunity that end. You've got an older industry that is fighting the change, and when people outside of industry see that, they see opportunity there, right, where they go after it. Now, it's not going to go as fast as everyone believes it is. I mean, just through my conversations with people online and Twitter and the rest, which that's clearly, people don't understand our industry on the outside either, because there's like a bunch of churn and conversation. And so somewhere between what they got and where the reality, it's going to be reality, right? So I think if I'm running one of these access control companies, I'm thinking, great time to go try to raise some money as well. Now, it'd be hard to go compete to go raise that money, but I don't know if you need to compete. I think it's a partnership, an ecosystem play, an opportunity. But it really needs to change the dialogue, in my opinion, internally of organizations on, is the platform thing a thing? It's like, I think it is. I could show you, $1.4 billion reasons why that this platform thing is a real thing. So I think it's time to move beyond that and start talking about, what is your strategy to do this? Like, how are you going to play? Get real crisp on that, have a good point of view, and go execute upon that, and you'll be good. Versus taking the approach, which is, you'll see in my newsletter, and I'll give a little bit here on this, I'm calling the salt and sugar approach. Our industry is like all salt or all sugar. And too much of either is really bad, right? Moderation's good. You probably lean a little bit more, like, I like salty things more than sweet things, but you still want some salt. And like, I think we need to start taking that approach of the balance of salt and sugar, and stop having the conversations about, from the salt being our industry, primarily the incumbents, telling me all the reasons why sugar is bad, and the sugar people telling me how bad all the salt is, and figure out a way to mix the two of them together. And frankly, I think that is what is going to have to happen in order to be relevant long term.
Yeah, and I think, kind of piggybacking a little bit, not as brilliant as your salt and sugar reference there, but just the idea of a vertical focus approach also, right? Latch isn't trying to be everything to everyone right now. They have a very specific vision right now, and they're attacking it. That doesn't mean it's not going to grow beyond that, but recognizing the demands and the requirements within certain verticals, and attacking those and addressing those, versus trying to be all things to everybody, and kind of having
I love that.
the there's not a single answer for all of these. So be really good at this, because I do think, and you hit on it there, of this partnership requirement, right? Of the idea of competitors in today's world, right? There's always going to be competitors, but sometimes maybe those competitors need to be partners in certain aspects. And are we willing to open our minds and open our eyes to ideas of partnerships that maybe we've never thought of before? Whether that's in our industry, in pure direct competitors that we maybe need to work with in a select case, or partners outside of our industry that we've never thought to work with before, that we've never even heard of before. And I just think, in this world of platforms and things of that nature, I never want to get rid of the competitive nature of business, but you got to be open to new ideas in today's world, because the platform is so important, and the demand for what the result is so critical. very few people are going to have the right answer to everything. So find people who do it well and find a way to work with them.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think when we were an industry based off of high security, you could have a horizontal platform that did generically everything for high security. But actually, when you took a step back and looked at it, we were actually a segment within the security sort of marketplace, right? And now, as it gets broader, this idea that you need to start to create user experiences and be the domain leaders in those areas is what you're talking about. And when that happens, I think there'll be an opportunity for partnership. I also think that there's going to be a quick reaction in some cases for people that are going to vertically integrate heavily because they see this as the only way to compete, when I think there's only a few people that can do just that. But I think that's I actually think that's good for some people, and they should do that. Just like I think there's some people that should partner more and go after it that way. And then there's only a few, in my opinion, that can be a platform, if you would, that goes across all of them. And we're going to quickly find out. What I do know is if our industry wasn't recognized before, this is. I mean, it was on CNBC. It was on every mainstream magazine and newspaper. I've gotten more conversations with people outside of our industry than I've had in one day. I mean, it's a good, and man, you've got the world's biggest excuse right now to do something different, like just accelerate it, in my opinion. So that, I mean, if anything, the thing that I walk away with is the permission is there, and those that I believe jump on the opportunity to utilize it as a calling to go do whatever it is that you think you need to do, verticalize, stay and do exactly what you do and partner, like whatever it might be. Now's the time to do it, because the permission's there and you have someone to point to and say, hey, here's a good reason why. So I'm excited to personally see it, and I'm excited to see now, like, yeah, it's put up or shut up time when it comes to having to realize that's a lot of money. And frankly, I hope they do. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and be critical of someone, swinging hard and going for it. I'd be a hypocrite if I did that. So I'd like to see him do it, but I also would like to see a whole bunch of people do it with them, because I think there's an opportunity.
Well, yeah, but I think like you just said, though, that's the snowball effect too, right? Of who's next in line, and what is next in line, and what does that start to look like? It's got to start somewhere. It's exciting, and not just for Latch, but for our entire industry, and for this conversation, for our multifamily developers as well, right? I mean, the Tishman aspect of this is unique. We've seen a lot of other technology companies investing in technology and things of that nature, right? The RealPage Stratus, the Google ADT. Now all of a sudden it's a development company. It's not just the technology on technology side of things, which I think is really interesting in this case.
Yeah, more to come. So, well, thanks for taking the time, giving your insights. Always love the conversation. I'm sure, more will come out from this. And that's, today was a Monday after last week with the inauguration. I thought, cool, 1 week, no distractions, can't wait. And poof, 6 a.m. this morning, I turned to my wife and said, well, that goes out the window. I'm going to spend the rest of my day doing this. So thanks again, Colin. Appreciate the time, and we'll catch up with everyone next week.
Always a pleasure.